I'm Teresa Graham-Brett from Parenting for Social Change, and I am so excited about this second video in our series of 4 videos. I got such great feedback about the first video. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I gave 4 techniques for parenting from a place that's grounded in your values. In that first video, what we discussed is how it is as parents we act from our past experiences, even when our actions contradict our values and beliefs as human beings and as parents. Now in this video, we're going to address a second issue, and that is how it is we can balance being the parent, the stereotypical parent in our culture, while honoring the humanity of the child. When we transform our relationships with children, what we're really doing is honoring the humanity of the child and honoring our own humanity. In that way, each of us in that relationship is able to grow and develop and reach this way of being in the world that is true and authentic for who we are. And parents that I work with who are able to integrate these techniques and tools into their daily practice of parenting see amazing shifts in that family life. So let's get started with this idea about how it is we can handle those stereotypes about what it means to be the parent that we learned as children growing up and that are also reinforced in our culture today. The first stereotype is that we are supposed to know what to do as parents. And the second one that's connected to that is we have to know how to fix the problem, whatever that problem might be. I'm going to tell you the story of a dad that I've worked with. This dad grew up, like so many of us, hearing this message that parents are supposed to know what to do and that they're supposed to be able to fix whatever problems come up. Given that he had internalized that message of what it meant to be the parent in his relationship with the child in his life, whenever there would be disagreements or things would come up for the child, what he did is he would step into the middle of that situation and he would take control of the situation. And he would try to direct the child toward an outcome or resolution that he thought was best for the child. He did this with the best of intentions. And he also did it because he was driven in some way by those stereotypes and those messages that he received about what it meant to be a good dad or a good parent. So let's talk about what was going on under the surface for this dad. What was happening for him in those moments when he felt compelled to fix the problem and step in is that he was feeling discomfort. The messages that he had received about being a good dad were in conflict with what it meant to honor the child's process and honor what the child needed. So these two things came into conflict because in his heart, he knew that he could be a partner and a facilitator for the child in his life. But he kept hearing these messages about needing to fix whatever was going on. So these are some steps and techniques to help with that process that you can use and that I encouraged this father to use when he was in those moments. The first technique is to acknowledge that you are feeling uncomfortable. Even acknowledging that we're feeling uncomfortable can be uncomfortable. But that's the first step, is to acknowledge the discomfort that we're feeling right now, whether it's in our bodies, in our hearts, however it shows up. Now, the second piece that we can do as parents is to then give yourself permission to not take action. So a mantra that I suggest that parents use, I've used it myself as well, is to, in that moment, after you acknowledge your discomfort, is say, I don't have to do anything right this moment. That gives you just a little bit of space. A little bit of space to let whatever needs to happen, happen. And so that you can get grounded and centered around what's your issue, your own discomfort, your need to be the parent versus what the child truly needs. Now, the third step that you can take is to acknowledge that you may not know what is the best thing to do. Now, the stereotype, the message we receive is that parents know what to do. They know what's best. That message runs through our minds when we're in those moments. You need to be able to fix everything. You need to know what's best. So those things come to us in those moments. And if we can just notice that they're there, notice that's the internal battle going on for us, and then acknowledge that we truly want to honor the child's process, because it is for the child that we're there, not for us. It is not to alleviate our own discomfort and to take care of our needs at the expense of the child's humanity. Here's the critical part to remember. This is a daily practice. It is something that we have to come back to on a very regular basis. And you're going to hear me say this at some point, probably in every single video as we go through this series, because we truly are in this place of needing to practice these skills and techniques so that we can be aware of our internal experience and our process so that we can create room for the child's process. And we can be with the child in the ways that that child needs us. Once we understand our place in the relationship, we create, in a sense, these healthy boundaries about our needs and the child's needs. Healthy boundaries actually allow us to take care of our own needs and be there for the child. What it does for us is it creates more freedom for us to be who we are, to honor our own humanity, to honor the child's humanity in this process. And when we have these healthy boundaries, what that allows us to do is to free up mental, physical, and emotional energy that we can then use to create a more deep and connected and unconditionally loving relationship with the children in our lives. We truly honor them and we honor ourselves when we can do this. It is truly possible for us to achieve this in our relationships with children. And the added benefit of doing that is that we begin to recover what we lost in our own childhood. We come back to a place of wholeness in our own lives. That's why it allows us to engage and experience life in a different way, not only within the parent-child relationship, but in our own lives. In the next video, we're going to address two things that derail parents all the time. The first one is insecurity, and the second one is worry. So we have insecurity about our decisions, and we worry about what impact we're having on children in our lives. Well, we've covered a lot today, and there's more to come in the next video. Make sure and go below and leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking. I love to hear from parents about what's going on for you. Thank you for engaging in this process with me and reflecting on your experiences as a parent. It's your courageous exploration and authentic connection that our world truly needs.